Hello friends, it's Miss Couch, your teaching artist with Kid Smart. Today I have a performance lesson for you. If you have been in the classroom with Miss Couch, you know we love to do performance lessons. And usually we are doing pantomime where we silently act out things, or frozen pictures called tableaus where we freeze in position so that a group of us are telling a story in a picture. But today's lesson is a spoken out loud performance lesson. We're going to talk about a story, a fable from the American Southwest, which includes the region from Central America, Mexico, all the way up through the southwestern part of the United States. A trickster's tale called The Coyote and the Rabbit. The coyote and the rabbit are two animals that love to play tricks on other animals. And this is true in many, many cultures. If you are reading trickster tales from the Cherokee Nation, the rabbit is a trickster. If you are reading stories from the Plains Indians and the Southwest Indians, the coyote is a trickster. And even in our modern media cartoons, the rabbit and the coyote are tricksters. If you think back before you were born, there are some old cartoons where the coyote is trying to trick the roadrunner all the time. But guess what? The roadrunner tricks the coyote. And the rabbit also is a trickster. The rabbit is Bugs Bunny in the old cartoons, where he tricks Elmer Fudd the hunter, or he tricks a duck. He tricks anybody he can trick. Those are tricksters. Still, the rabbit and the coyote. So this tale is from, like I said, the Southwest. Some people even say Mayan culture. I'm going to show you some links where you can listen to a storyteller tell the story. I'm going to share a link with you with a script, and we'll talk about what scripts look like. And then we're going to look at a chart of emotions and try to figure out how we can match the emotions to what our characters are saying. All right, we're going to get started by sharing the screen. Here we go. The first screen, and this is a link that you can find below, is a YouTube video. You can see it's not very long, under 3 minutes, and that is the storyteller telling the story of the coyote and the rabbit. It's the same story that you will find here in our script. So there's a link below for this script so that you and one other person, possibly two, because there is a narrator, can act out the story of the coyote and the rabbit. Let's talk about this script a little bit. You can see up on the top of the page, it says the word script, and then you see below that red ink and black ink. The red ink tells us who is speaking, the narrator, the coyote, or the rabbit. We're just going to look at these three lines that are the coyote and the rabbit today. Maybe we'll talk about the narrator another time. So the red ink, the character that is speaking, is something we don't say aloud. The actor only reads the line. What are you doing, brother? Now, if I was a storyteller or an author writing this book, I might say, well, I would use some of what the narrator says. I would say, one day the rabbit came to a big rock, and there he decided to trick the coyote. He stayed there leaning on the rock until the coyote came by. When the coyote saw him, he said, "What are you doing, brother?" So that would be, if I was a storyteller, I would have to give all that information. The setting, the time of day maybe, what was on Rabbit's mind. No, when we are in our play, the setting is just seen. Oh, here's a rabbit by a rock. Wonder what the rabbit's up to. And the actor has to show the audience with his voice or his face or the rest of his body language, what he has in mind, what he is about to do. So in our 3 lines here where the coyote speaks and the rabbit speaks and the coyote speaks, we have to decide if we're going to perform both of them to have different voices. So the coyote, you might sound really deep, kind of like the big bad wolf. What are you doing, brother? And the rabbit, you might make a higher voice. Oh, you might decide that the rabbit is a girl. Then you'd have to change it to sister, but you know, that will be fine. Either one, they can both be girls. That's fine. So the rabbit would say, come here quickly, brother coyote. The sky is falling down on top of us. Lean against the rock and hold it up while I go for a stick. We'll prop it up with that. All right. So there we have our 3 lines. The coyote is not saying very much, but the rabbit has a lot to say in his 1 line. He says several sentences, and the coyote just says single sentences. All right, let's move over to our last link, which is a little video you can watch. It's a series of emoticons and the word that goes with them. So, and it will read them aloud so you can hear what those words sound like. So like this is a tricky word, curious, confused. But you know what those words mean. So curious, I think, really describes what the coyote is experiencing or feeling when he walks up to Rabbit and says, what are you doing, brother? I think he's curious. But what if he was afraid? How would he sound different if he was afraid? And let's see, what else could we do? Oh, how about angry? Angry. So let's do angry and afraid and then curious. So the coyote says in an angry voice, what are you doing, brother? Ooh, that was angry. We still have our low pitched, big bad wolf kind of sounding voice, but he's angry. What are you doing, brother? And you see Miss Couch changed her face to look a lot like the emoticon here. My eyebrows came together. I know you couldn't see the steam coming out of my ears, but I was mad with steam coming out of my ears, and my mouth bent down. Okay, so next is afraid. Afraid. What if Coyote is afraid? Think about that emoticon and think about how your face is arranged when you're afraid. What are you doing, brother? He's so afraid he doesn't even sound deep anymore. He's just, his voice went up because he's afraid. What are you doing, brother? I don't know what the coyote saw that scared him so much. Just a rabbit leaning against a rock doesn't sound very scary. That would be a different kind of story if the coyote was scared. Let's look one more time. Here is curious. Curious. Let's see if I make my face like the curious emoticon and I say, what are you doing, brother? Maybe a little deeper. What are you doing, brother? Curious coyote. All right, now let's look at the rabbit. Remember, the rabbit has so much to say. Come here quickly, brother coyote. The sky is falling down on top of us. Well, if I was trying to trick someone that the sky was falling, I think I would use an afraid voice. Let's look. The sky is falling down on us. Would I think that was funny? So first, Rabbit is communicating something scary is happening, but then Rabbit switches to say, I have a plan. So let's go back to our emoticons. And so first, afraid that the sky is falling, and then let's see, confident. Oh, here's confident. I like confident. Confident emoticon is wearing glasses like Miss Couch. Then confident in his plan. So let's look at our script. Come here quickly, Brother Coyote. The sky is falling down on top of us. Lean against the rock and hold it up while I go for a stick. We'll prop it up with that. So there's Rabbit using two different emotions, afraid and confident. What would it be like if we switched them? Rabbit might say, come here quickly, Brother Coyote. The sky is falling down on top of us. Oh, lean against the rock and hold it up while I go for a stick. We'll prop it up with that. Well, that might work, but I liked it better the other way. Scared first, then confident. Now let's look at Coyote. He just has two words to say. All right. But how is he going to say them? Is he now afraid because the sky is falling? Is he confident that Rabbit's plan will work? Or is he jealous because Rabbit has the plan to save everyone, and that is making him jealous? Or is he suspicious because he thinks Rabbit might be pulling a trick on him? Maybe he's hot out on the desert. Maybe he's so exhausted. Maybe he's so hot and tired that he's miserable. Maybe he's almost about to cry because he's so stressed out. Oh my gosh, the sky is falling. Rabbit has a crazy plan. I've got to save the world by leaning on this rock. It's so overwhelming. I'm going to cry. Maybe he's feeling a little anxious. Maybe he's feeling a little anxious. That's this guy up here on top. What do you think? Could be amused. He could be thinking, I am just going to do what Rabbit says to see what happens next. This might be funny. I don't think he's angry. Let's see. Which one will you pick when you act out these lines? I think I am going to pick confused. Maybe he is confused by Rabbit's plan. So he will say, all right. But of course, he'll have to say it in a low voice. All right. All right. We're going to read those three lines. Are you ready? What are you doing, brother? Come here quickly, Brother Coyote. The sky is falling down on top of us. Lean against the rock and hold it up while I go for a stick. We'll prop it up with that. All right. So there you go. Just 3 lines of the story. But we have defined our characters with 2 different voices, and we've looked at the emotions behind their lines. If you want to, you can scroll down through this script. You can see the rabbit and the coyote continue speaking, and the narrator comes in with lots of exposition, explaining things. You could read this script and many others like it on this website. The link is below, and you can see that These scripts are not for sale. They just want you to place a link if you're using them. So very easy. We have done that, and you can search for many, many stories. I chose this one because it just has 3 people, and you might have 3 people in your house that you can act it out with. But if you are spending your summer with your cousins and your neighbors and you're all together because the parents have to share who's watching the kids while different people are at work, they have stories that you need 9, 10, 11 people. Whatever it takes. You might be able to get your camp counselor to help if you're at camp, or an older cousin or babysitter if that's what you have at your house. Even your grandma and grandpa can join in. So I hope you enjoy acting out some of these stories, using those emotions to make different sounds with your mouth, different expressions with your face, and figure out how to make the rest of your body match those emotions that you're giving to your characters. Have fun with it, and I can't wait to see you again. Happy summer, everyone.